Hello everybody! This week I'm going to be using a lot of product from the latest Studio Calico kit and add-ons, the County Fair, and I'm going to incorporate a few other things as well. First I'm going to talk a little bit about, I am going to be doing a Valentine's themed page since that will be coming up here in just about a month. I created this photo collage using a Carrie Bradford photo collage masking template, and I just added a whole bunch of photos. I think I got 8 photos here in one collage, and a lot of the photos were not the best quality. My son's preschool class, when he was in preschool, was kind of a dark room, and so the photos tended to not always turn out just the best. A couple of the photos I did take at home, but I just wanted to document the Valentine's Day party that he went to last year and the little treat bags and things that we made. So I put everything in this collage format here, which is one of my favorite ways to scrapbook my photos and to get a lot onto a page. Next, the papers that I chose, again, are all from the Studio Calico County Fair or add-ons kits. And I did get just a couple of basic cardstocks, a nice cream and also a black. Then I have this really pretty aqua wood grain paper from the Random Collection from Crate Paper, and here on the other side you can see there's all these little cutout journaling pieces. But I really like, what I was going for here was not quite the red, white, pink Valentine's theme, and I was kind of going to incorporate a little bit more color into my Valentine's page. So I have the aqua here. I don't know that I'll use this paper. This is one of the papers from the kit as well. And you can see it has kind of more of a travel theme to it, but I love the text background and the color that is infused in here. This is it's from a company I'm not familiar with. It's a company from France. It's looks like Kaisa Art. Anyway, they have some really beautiful papers. And then I have this really nice red and craft plaid from Pebbles, their fresh goods collection. And what I like about this is, again, it's not the bright deep red, it's more of a muted kind of red. So I'll show you, this is kind of what these are the first 3 papers I pulled out, and I loved how those looked together. And then I also really love the wood, the real wood look of this paper from October Afternoon. This is the Sarsaparilla collection from them, and on the other side is this really pretty blue with little aqua polka dots. So I have those as my pattern papers and cardstock for my page. Then I also pulled out these cute little corrugated alphabet. I believe this is from Jelly Bean Soup. I will double check that though, and that will be listed in the supplies on my blog. Also from the Studio Calico kit. Then I pulled some random embellishments from those kits as well. These wood buttons from Basic Gray, these colorful buttons from October Afternoon, and the tin pins from October Afternoon as well. Then there's some really nice tissue tape here. I can't find the opening for it, but it's black with a little wood grain there. So I don't know if I'll use it or not, but I pulled it out because I liked it. And then I'm also going to be incorporating the January Studio AE stamp set from Allie Edwards. And if you saw my blog yesterday, I shared a card for the Studio AE blog hop this month that showcases one of the stamps here from the stamp set. And then I made these cute little ribbon hearts out of scraps of ribbon and a steel rule die from Tim Holtz for Sizzix to accent my card. Very easy, very simple, but this is a really great way to use up those ribbon scraps that you probably have laying around like I do, and I have a huge jar of them, and this is one of my very favorite techniques. I shared it maybe 1.5 to 2 years ago, And my ribbon scrap collection was getting out of hand again, so I thought it would be fun to make some cards with these. And I thought that it would be nice to make some ribbon, scrap ribbon heart accents for my scrapbook layout as well. And I'll be showing you exactly how I do that in video format for those of you who wonder how I get my accents. So you can make all kinds of things, make a whole bunch at once, maybe butterflies and tags and stars, any kind of accent, and then you can use them for cards and scrapbook layouts and all kinds of things, maybe gift tags. So this is just the leftover from this one that I did here. This is about a 3x3 square that I covered with some adhesive and then just laid my ribbon on. You want to use a really strong adhesive. I used the Glue Arts Permatac because you don't want these peeling up at all. So I made sure and die cut it clear over here on this edge because I can get another heart out of this area right here. So anyway, we're going to make some of those today. So let's go ahead and get started. To create these fabric hearts, what you're going to need to use, I used my Sizzix because you're going to want to use some steel rule dies when cutting through thicker materials like ribbon, especially layered ribbon like we're going to do here. So I'm using this. It is the base tray from Tim Holtz. If you have any of his dies that are like this is a great way to be able to cut them and not have them move around because they're magnetic and they just pop right on here. So I have these here. And I'm just going to set this aside for just a second and show you how to put the adhesive on the cardstock here and add your ribbon layers. So you can see I have all this scrap ribbon here, things that are either left over from another project or scraps that were really just too tiny to put away because they're not really big enough to tie a bow or anything like that. What I like to use is the Glue Arts Permatac simply because it is super sticky adhesive. So I've already cut some cardstock pieces and I have only cut these big enough to really die cut one piece from. I don't want a whole lot of leftover waste or anything like that, and a lot of the ribbon is not very big anyway. So I've just cut them pretty small. And then starting at the top, I'm just going to put my adhesive, and I want to completely cover the entire thing. I've done this lots of different ways using different adhesives. This is just my current favorite way to do it. It's really simple and easy, and I don't do it really nice and neat or anything either. Let's go ahead and make one from this dark brown, and I want all of mine to be pretty much tone on tone. So I'm simply going to just layer on my ribbon, and I'm just going to butt them up here right next to each other and smooth them out. And I just grabbed a whole bunch of ribbon that was similar in color, or ribbon scraps, I guess. You could also take some ribbon that you may have lying around left over from other projects if you have that, or you could use a brand new ribbon for this technique as well. I just find that this is a really great way to use up ribbon scraps that I might not use otherwise, and it makes really cute accents. Then I just cut off all that excess because I can go ahead and reuse pieces like the little leftover here. So there's really no rhyme or reason, just lay those all out there like that. So you can see I have completely covered that little piece of cardstock there, mostly I guess. And then I'm going to take my Big Shot, and you have your cutting plates, and you're going to take that base tray here. I'm going to use this bigger heart, and what I like to do is kind of flip it over, make sure I have that lined up because I don't want them being skewed. I really want them pretty much straight on. Line that up and pop that on there, and it'll stay in place. Put my other cutting mat on top, and I am just going to run that right through my Big Shot. And you can see, easy as that, I have a ribbon die cut heart. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this for the rest of my heart accents. So I'm just quickly speeding through here. Here I've made a red ribbon scrap heart. I'm going to make a white one now, following the same steps that I showed just a little bit ago. Just simply showing how I put together some of the different ribbon. I really, like I said before, I like the tone on tone a lot. I think that it looks really nice. Just checking to make sure that'll work. And again, I'm just going to run the white one through. I did this several times to create quite a few hearts for my page. I'm measuring my photo collage here because I want to trim my cardstock to the actual size of the photos, not the white border, but the actual photos in the collage. And I do this because I kind of like for my photo collage to hang off of the edge of my matted background. So I cut the cream cardstock at a 10-inch square, and then I cut this red and craft plaid slightly smaller, so about 9 3/4, maybe a little bit bigger. It's just a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to take my hearts here, my little ribbon scrap die cut hearts, and I'm just going to lay them out, make a little border, see if that's kind of what I like for my page. Before I attach anything, I always like to lay it all out and make sure that I kind of like the look of it. Once I kind of have that all laid out, I pretty much know what I'm going to do for my title and journaling. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my background, and I'm just adding some Studio Calico Mr. Huey White to that wood design background paper. And I just love the distressing it adds to it. Then I'm going to punch a couple of borders with this border punch. I believe this is one from Stampin' Up, so it is an EK Success punch for Stampin' Up. And it has that nice little cutout scallop border. A little bit more decorative than a standard scallop border. So I'll just trim that to fit on either side of my photo collage. It dresses up the photo collage a little bit, plus with punching this from the aqua wood grain paper, it adds that color to my page. So you can see I've die cut my title already as well. The FEB there for February, the abbreviation, was die cut from the reverse side of that red and craft plaid. It's kind of a craft with a little bit of a floral design. And then I die cut the 11 for 2011 from the aqua wood grain paper. So I added some of the adhesive to the back of my photo collage down both sides, and now I'm just adhering those punched borders, and that just adds that little pop of aqua to the page. I'm going to add some adhesive then to that corrugated E and attach it right over my photo collage. Adds a nice little decorative touch. I'm going to sew some buttons now to the centers or the edges of my ribbon hearts, or die cut ribbon scrap hearts. And I did this for my card that I shared yesterday as well, that's linked on my blog. And it's just a fun way to dress up that die cut a little bit, and I am using buttons that are the same color or in the same color family as the ribbons I chose to use for the die cut. So very easy. And it's a very simple accent, but it really does dress it up and just take it up a notch. So there is what one of those looks like. I have pretty much everything ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and get my page all put together. So I'm just going to attach this. I'm not going to center it in the dead center of my page. A lot of times I like to kind of do it off center or tilt it even, just for visual interest. So I'm kind of doing it in the lower right corner of the page here. And I didn't press it down real good because I am using that permatack, and it's very sticky, so I was careful not to press down my photo collage quite yet because I'm going to adhere my die cut title. I'm going to flip that over. I had to peel it up just a little, I forgot. I like to adhere my die cuts and elements where they kind of hang off the edge. I think it makes for a much more visually pleasing design. So I cut off the top of my die cut, as you can see there, and I tucked one side underneath my photo collage. So that is the top of my page, and I'm just going to sew this heart button in place. It dresses up my title just a tiny little bit, and it adds a little pop of color where I've got the craft and the aqua, and then that bright red button just really kind of completes that title. It really dresses it up. And I just attached it with some glue dots. And then I'll tie my bow. Not that. Kind of pull it a little bit smaller so it's more to the right size, and then I'll trim the ends. Once I have that done, I have my journaling that I've already printed on some craft cardstock, and I'm just going to grab my stamp and make sure that I have it spaced correctly. And I'm going to be attaching that right there. So I'm going to lay out my heart accent as well. And I'm just going to score. I left plenty on either side there because I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to adhere my journaling, but I used my Martha Stewart scoring board to score it, and then I just fold it over. It's one of my favorite little tricks to do. It just adds a nice touch to the journaling block and dresses it up. So I'm going to attach that there, and then I'm going to grab my Tim Holtz tiny attacher and add a staple. Not only does that secure it to my page, but it adds a very simple and non-bulky decorative accent. Then I'm going to use this sticker from October Afternoon, and again it's in that great aqua color. It points to the photo, it helps tell the story, and the color is perfect for moving your eye throughout the page. Now I'm ready to stamp my subtitle and my other little word accent at the bottom, and I'm using some Versamark ink, which is just a nice sticky ink, to stamp that right on my background. And you can see, you can't see it since I'm doing it right over pattern paper. A lot of times if I stamp on pattern paper, I like to use Versamark and embossing powder. When you heat set that, especially when you're using like a vibrant white embossing powder like I'm doing here, it will really pop off that background. It'll give you more the look of maybe a rub-on, I would say. So I'm just heating that up, and you can see it's nice and shiny now and all embossed, and it really pops off that red and craft. I'm going to do the same thing with this other stamp. This is a really cute heart, and then it says you, so love you. And then I was going to go ahead and grab this little phrase that says so very much, but I decided I couldn't see it, so I needed to go ahead and add the embossing powder first. Then I went and stamped the additional phrase real quick. Add the embossing powder and tap that off. Then I'll heat that as well. Very easy, and it finishes off the left side of the page really nicely. Helps keep your eye moving from the top to the bottom. So I'm just adding a little date to an October Afternoon label sticker. I've attached my heart accents with some foam adhesive, and now I'm just using a American Crafts sticker and this October Afternoon sticker. I'm going to layer those. Just tuck that under the top of my photo collage. I always like to date my pages in some way. This is my favorite way. I do it a lot, probably almost on every layout. I date it similar to this. I have found over the years that the pages that I have not dated, it really makes me mad at myself. I love having that date there so that I know exactly when the photo was taken. I'm going to go ahead and sew these basic gray buttons on. One at the top of the photo collage and another one at the bottom. It almost looks like they're holding that photo collage in place on my page. And where the left side of the page has so many accents and things going on, and the right side is very photo heavy, this adds a little bit of a decorative touch to the right side of the page as well. And the little labels there at the top do the same. Tie that off on the back, and my page is finished. For more information on this layout, plus the list of supplies used to create it, please visit my blog on January 11th, 2012 at www.nicholemcgurk.typepad.com, and be sure to subscribe for more scrapbooking videos and tutorials. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.